Warning. It is the opinion of the 4th Street Productions LLC and the Working Perspectives podcast that we should inform you that some of the language used in this recording could possibly be considered offensive. You have been warned, so if you decide to listen to the recording, then don't complain about the language. Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, living real lives, doing real stuff. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied today by his royal dubness, jdub Justin Richardson, Thickfitusa Chad Kilhefner, Money Talks with Don Lyons, and Padilla Jiu Jitsu Mike Padilla. You can find all our content and all our stuff on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can have us on Instagram, Working Perspectives Podcast, and you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe so my wife leaves me the hell alone about doing this damn show. Don Lyons, Money Talks. How you feeling, my man?
I'm well, Matt. What about yourself?
Doing good. Ready to get this thing going. How about you?
Good. Same here. I'm ready.
Love it. Mr. Padilla, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Mike Padilla. Looking good, pal. How you feeling, my man?
Great. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. You ready to get this thing going?
Yeah, let's get it popping.
Love it. Thick Fit USA in the house. Chad Kilhefner back again. How you doing, my man?
Yep. Doing great. We're locked, loaded, and ready to go.
Love it. Can't wait to get this thing started. jdub, how we doing, baby?
I'm excited. Bottom of the food chain here. A bunch of people who can beat me up. This is cool.
That's you know.
No, I'm joking. But they're like, hey, we're gonna interview a bunch of people who can do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, hey, my brother used to come home and wrestle me after wrestling practice. I know like 7 things. I can defend myself for 90 seconds against maybe one of you.
If you're lucky. Nice. Well, all right, cool, man. Well, I'm ready too. So let's get this thing started. Let's go.
It's our objective to be effective by voicing societies. Working perspective, exploring your day and how you get paid. Launching a new episode every Tuesday. Your day can transform while we inform with new episodes available on every platform. So check out our vibe and how we get live. Then do us a solid. Share and subscribe. We're just sharing. Working perspectives.
All right, so let's get to talking. Let's get to chatting. Let's get to moving it around. Let me tell you a little something about a place called Renzo Gracie PA Academy. So for me, I'll tell you this, man, this place, it is a special place. It's a magical place. I think we all would agree that this place changes lives. It builds character. It builds structure. It builds confidence. It does so many things for so many different people. We've talked about this place on the show ad nauseum. We've referenced a couple legends, Dental Bill, shout out. But no, I'm super excited that we finally got a group together of guys that really, I think we did a good job of making it different generational, right? So as far as chronologically, Mike was there that before me, then I came in, then Don came in, then Chad came in. So we get to see the progression of the Renzo Gracie PA Academy through the years and just the different, how different people view it at different times. And I'm super excited, ready to go. Justin, I know you don't want to pee your pants on air, but what are you thinking about tonight?
I mean, I did attend the Renzo Gracie in outside of Norristown for 3 months? 4?
You did, yeah. So yeah, this was 2012, maybe 2011.
Yeah. 2011.
Yeah.
Then.
What's that, Mike?
I'm pretty sure it was shut down by then.
It was. So yeah, you're.
And I thought there.
Yeah, it was. That place was. It doubled as a taekwondo place too, right? And Rich, the guy rented from Rich, or vice versa. I guess Rich was trying to expand, but yeah, that place was. I think Rich knew like this was a mistake.
Was it sketchy?
No, I mean it was in a shopping mall, and it was in like the
It was
nice.
like puzzle hats.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, it was. It wasn't sketchy. It just legit. It was a karate dojo, right?
Yeah.
So there wasn't really like I had to bring all the gear that we would use, right? I only taught boxing there. I don't even think Rich did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu there. And like, yeah, I don't know. And my biggest regret though, and I remember like, cause I would have to lock the place up, right? And my biggest regret, and Justin knows what I'm talking about because we were there. Like when we would leave, I would like lock the front door and go out the back kind of thing, you know? And when we would go out the back, we would always walk by these like wooden samurai swords that they had. And I remember telling Justin, like, bro, the day we don't have to come here anymore, I'm fucking stealing all of these. You know what I mean? and I fucking forgot. And I never got to steal them. So, what are you going to do? I should have done it, though. I should have pulled the trigger. God, I would love a wooden samurai sword, you know?
We can do like some type of special ceremony, like accomplishment. We do something, we achieve something, you get a wooden samurai sword. You know what I mean? With a lot of pomp and circumstance behind it. It's like a big deal.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We get it engraved.
What do you call that?
My girlfriend goes like Goodwill shopping a lot, and she's like, "Is there anything you're like looking like you want like old golf clubs or something?" I'm like knickknacks or something. I'm like, no. I'm like, but if they have a katana, purchase it. She's like, what? I'm like, sword. And he got a long sword. Just buy it, bring it home.
Yeah. Dude, I honestly would love to learn how to fencing. If, you know, Rich has talked about expanding the gym with different types of classes. I always put out like fencing or something like that.
Hey,
like, you know,
I'm built for fencing.
Dude, what about a spear? Right? Show me how to do a spear. What are you going to say, Chad?
So isn't there a fencing? Isn't there like a fencing up the street?
There is one in Hatfield.
What?
Yeah.
I used to live in Hatfield, and I looked it up because I was going to do it. It's expensive as fuck. So I was like 18 living with my mom, and I'm like, look, I'm lanky. Like I'm built for fencing.
Sure.
And
small target.
They used to do that log rolling competition on the ESPN outdoor games. And I was like, I'd be really good at that. I think I'd be good at fencing. And the log rolling thing wasn't realistic. And I was like, I should pursue fencing. Fuck it. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And
armed combat.
Where it was, it's not far from Hatfield. And
it's right down the street from the gym.
But you got to buy your own.
They have one.
Yeah, you had to buy your own mask and like outfit and shit. And those masks are not cheap. The fencing mask, and it was like $380 for the sign up or something like that.
Oh, yikes.
I'm like, what am I gonna? Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, that's good. So I always like would get into something and then try something new. You know what I mean? So this was like in 2003 maybe or 4. It's when the Pirates of the Caribbean movie came out.
Sure.
You know? So
fencing
it was a couple of years after. Yeah, it was a couple of years after that. And my nephew, who's almost 20 now, he was a little kid at the time, like a little boy, and he was really into the Pirates of the Caribbean. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I like learned how to sword fight, you know, and then we could kind of show him some different things and we could whack around the sword the real way. So I looked for a fencing place. So I signed up. I went to do it, and my wife and I drug her along, right? So Jocelyn, let's do this, you know, let's just go take a couple fencing lessons. It'll be new. It'll be something fun. Let's just give it a try. Yeah. So we went there, and it was a place, you know, it's not the place on 309, but it was, I forget the name of it, but we went there, and it was me. We were like the older ones there, and I was like in my early 30s, you know, probably or late 20s, something like that. Yeah. And we're there, and she signs up, and it's just us and then a bunch of kids. There's like a 15-year-old kid, you know, 12-year-old kids. Yeah. And I get matched up with the instructor, and we were doing that. And then we just like, how do you stand? How do you thrust with the sword and stab correctly? And you had the gloves and the mask, your foil and everything. So it was like the second or third time I got it there. And then we actually tried the move, kind of like, you know, you're boxing. You learn your jab, you learn your right hand, then you do it with the target, and then you do it, you know, sparring, right? So this is the first time we were in there matched up against somebody. And then I was kind of going and I was getting stabbed a little bit and you were fending it off. And then she was with some kid who was a teenager and he just kept stabbing her time and time again. Right. This one in the body, I could hear her grunt under that mask.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it was like 3 lessons and that was it. After she got poked apart with getting stabbed with that foil, that was it. She was done and we were no longer fencing students anymore. But that was great. It was fun though. They have it right in our backyard. We could do that as part of the rotation.
Dude, I mean, oh God, that would be great if we did it, if we recorded it for content on the show, you know?
It's kind of weird. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it'd be, I mean, we're going to do a paintball video on the show soon. So
that'd be good.
Oh, it's going to be a fucking mistake, I think, but we're doing it anyway. Nice.
First time fencing soiree, right?
Dude, I mean, I've always thought of it like this, right? Like, dude, we're gonna catch an apocalypse soon, right? Like we're right on the cusp of an apocalypse. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Gotta get ready.
No, they always say that. Everyone has always said that. I had to like sit my father down and explain that to him one day.
I have to
He was
agree.
like, not getting it. He's like, the world's ending. I was like, first off, you've been telling me that since I was 10. Third off, everybody fucking says that. Everybody in every society doesn't like change, and the world's fucking ending because kids are selling their bodies on the internet. I'm like, God knows what the fuck is going about.
Well,
vaccines aren't real.
Well,
And,
just in case it does, I think fencing would be a good, skill to have, right? I mean, if we can't, once we don't know how to make bullets from scratch anymore, right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Fencing.
I've always,
bow and arrow, spear. Oh, where's a spear class?
Spear.
Where do they teach the spear? But what are you gonna say, Justin?
Like the nunchuck, while it looks useless, is like cool and intimidating. The mace. When society collapses, the man with the mace will be well respected.
You've been preaching the mace for
intimidating. It's not even functional. It's just like if you were coming down an alley and like one way's a guy with a mace, another guy's like 3 guys with a sword, you'd be like, I don't want to fuck with the mace guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to navigate it. It's just swinging around.
Yeah. I don't even know how you would use that, right? Like, how do you even use that in combat? You can't, like, I don't know. I mean,
it's a show weapon.
Yeah, it really is.
That's the big metal ball with the spikes on a chain.
Yeah, with like a fucking thing. Yeah. I don't know who's doing that.
You just get that thing going until you hear it sing. Whop. You don't want to be on the receiving end of that. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
That would be a bad day.
Yeah, that would tickle.
Just the swing of that is enough to scare him off, J-Dub,
That's it. It's a show weapon. They're like, does that guy have a mace? No, thank you.
Yeah, nice. So, okay. Yeah. So, nice. Well, I mean, let's do spears, though, right? So, either way, let's keep it moving. Kind of got off on a little bird walking there, as Shake would say. So, I want to get into it. We're going to talk about one of the best places going. It's the Renzo Gracie PA Academy in Hatfield. We'll have a link in the description of this. We love this place. Big fans of it. I want us to get on. We'll do it chronologically, how we're going to go over this. So I want to start with you, Don. So first question is, as far as the Renzo Gracie PA Academy, I want to know, when did you start, right? Like how long ago? And then what was your, like, because I think everyone that goes into the gym has a preconceived notion of what it's going to be like. And then they find out it's completely different than what they thought. So go ahead, Don.
All right. So I started Renzo March of 2016.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So 6 years. But the caveat is my son actually trained, I think 2 years before I started training. So I was like a parent. I would show up, take him Monday, Wednesday, Saturday classes, and I would just sit there with all the other parents.
Yeah.
And then what happened is a kid actually walked to me, he was like a 14-year-old. He said, hey, are you ever going to train? And I'm like, yeah, why do I need to train? I'm like, what do I need to train for?
Yeah.
He says, you got your son doing it? So then I thought about it. I was like, that is a good point.
Yeah.
And then so the funny thing is I always wanted to train in martial arts.
Yeah.
And so growing up as a kid, I was a big Bruce Lee fan, like most of us.
He's the best.
But my mother would never allow me. She thought I was too violent. She would say, you're too violent. I said, you don't need to learn it. So finally, after that kid kind of challenged me, essentially, I ended up taking one class. And ever since then, I was hooked.
What class?
BJJ was my first class at Renzo.
Nice. And
so
you said you were just like So you were like, this is like Padilla. I remember when we had him on the show, said the same exact thing. He's like, I got tapped a bunch of times. I was like, this shit is for me. Teach me how to fucking do this. You know what I mean?
So my first class, I drilled and I rolled. Didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, shit, what is this? So it was like a drug ever since then.
Yeah, it's a real shock to the confidence too, because like you're going in there and you're a grown man at this time, and there's probably like, you know, like I'm sure like there's young kids in the class and stuff and younger guys that look like dude, like I think it's Eddie Bravo said it the best, and I think he's right. Nerd assassins, right? That are there, and you're like, look at this dweeb, right? And then you're just like, what is going on here? Why is my arm bending? Like, you know what I mean?
So you know what's interesting along those lines? I think Dental Bill is like the nerd assassin. Like like when the first time I met him, I'm like, hey man, what are you, like an engineer or something like that? Like totally unassuming, doesn't look like he could hold himself in the street. You know, looks like you can walk all over him, and then you start rolling with him, and all of a sudden it's like, what the hell? Wait a second, you're breaking everything. Like my first few injuries came from Dental Bill.
Yeah,
it got to a point where my improvement for me was rolling with him without getting injured. Yeah, that was like the first thing. Yeah. Now it's not getting tapped.
Yeah. Which is, go ahead, Chad.
What did he get you with, Don? Do you remember?
It was I can't even recall
everything.
The only thing I recall is that I was basically underneath him.
Yeah, it's common.
Like it was everything. I can't even, it was everything. And it was like very, and this is what I've learned with rolling with higher level belts, is that they're very slow, methodical. Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like a snake, like a snap.
They put you where they want you, and then they spring the trap. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would agree. And I've seen, dude. And the thing is too, it's like when you're saying like Dental Bill hurt you, it wasn't like he's intentionally hurting you. You're pressing him, and he just like answers back, right? That's dude. Right. He is like, he should be the poster boy from Nerd Assassins, dude. He's the guy, like he's wearing like at the pool, he's got a bucket hat, the suntan on his nose, like probably has the Moses sandals going on. Like that's fucking Bill.
Jesus walks.
Yeah, dude. Totally. Yeah. Nice. So,
you asked about my impression. Was that your other question?
Yeah. What did you like? What was your thought going in? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So it was one thing when I was a parent just bringing my son, but I think once before I started training, I think I assumed everyone was like a rough and tumble, rugged, brute type of individuals. Yeah. And then you start training with folks, and you're like, "What do you do for a living?" You're like, "Oh, I'm an accountant." What about you? I'm a physician. Like, really? Okay. So that was my perception changed a lot.
You think it's all like a bunch of like plumbers and cops and there's some of them there, but you're right. It's like, no, I'm a computer programmer.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Justin, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say about the Dental Bill thing. It's the mild-mannered man like complex, like Clark Kent. You know what I mean? You're like, guy looks regular. He works at a news reporting agency, and then you're like, no. I could beat you with one hand.
I would absolutely love if Dental Bill was a superhero and his mask was just the suntan lotion on the nose, right? Like Clark Kent, it's just glasses, right? I don't know how he's fooling everybody, but like if Dental Bill is just like, all right, time to fight crime, and wipe it off and go. I just think that would be incredible. But yeah, nice. So, okay, perfect. Great shit, Don. Nice. So, all right. So moving on then, Mike, the question to you. So when did you first start at the Renzo Gracie PA Academy, and what was your impression or like, what did your preconceived notion of what the gym would be like when you went in? Go ahead.
Honestly, first question, I believe it was March 2008.
Okay. Yeah.
So my impression, I mean, I think I had a pretty good, impression or accurate impression of it. Because, coming through wrestling and stuff, at that time, it was all fighters. Yeah. We didn't have like, the average Joe training, it was literally the whole team we all wanted to fight. Yeah. So, I kind of knew what I was getting into then, we didn't really become mom and pop So, 5-6 years down the line.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, there was more because I remember so the training sessions used to be on Sunday, and it was like because Jordan had just got there, right? When you were there, like he would only just started there, and I think Jeremy Pompey was another guy, and
Right.
and then who was the real cut guy? Durstein or something, right?
Yeah, Roundtable. Yep.
Yeah, he was there, dude. That guy, I remember seeing him. I was like, Jesus Christ, that guy's fucking in shape. But and then
well, he was working there. He was a trainer too.
Yeah, exactly. And like and then you had.
And he fought.
What's that?
And he fought first time. He was a fighter there too.
Yeah. He fought. And then like there was the prison guard Joe, Big Joe, and then Rich also like. You guys will get Rich every once in a while now. Rich was rolling every fucking night back then, right? And he was like, dude, like once class is over, fucking rips his shirt off. He's like, let's fucking go. Who's staying around, right? And like, dude, he's got like 20 abs and he's just fucking ripping people to shreds, right? Like, and Omar was there. You remember Big Omar, Mike?
Yep.
Omar's actually booked to be on the show. So yeah, no, dude, yeah. So you were there, and that was at the old gym too when we were part of the Renzo Gracie the Hatfield Athletic
Club.
Yeah, that was actually like blessing and the curse. I'll tell you this. And
before they went down for insurance fraud.
Yeah, let's not incriminate anybody on the show, but
there's no incriminating. They went to jail.
That's true. You can't book them twice. That's true. But no, yeah, they it was a whole get out of Dodge quick thing there, man. They really fucked us over. But no, I remember. So the head boxing instructor back then was this guy named Harry Joe Yorgi, right? So the way Rich is, and Padilla knows him, is that like you have to. Rich was really like on if you're gonna fight in the cage, you need you need a standing discipline, you need a takedown discipline, and you need a ground game discipline, right? And he was very much like adamant about that, right? And he's like, you can be stronger in some than the other. That's just how it's gonna be. But he was very adamant of like, you need these. So like Muay Thai boxing for standing, and then wrestling for the takedown stuff, and then Brazilian Jiu Jitsu obviously for the ground. And me and Mike would, one of the things is because it was attached to like an actual gym, right? The Hatfield Athletic Club, they had like treadmills and like workout machines and Smith machines and like all the stuff you need, right? So we would be training with Harry, and he would do these things called hill sprints. Bro, if you want to puke all over the place, this is the thing. Like, dude, it legit, like, Mike, do you remember what I'm talking about with the treadmills?
Yeah, yep.
Oh my God. It was so
back up the incline.
Yeah, dude. So it's a 3-minute round, right? So you have, he would put so you get 2 treadmills right next to each other. One treadmill is at the highest incline, right? Like all the way up. And then, but it's at like, let's say like, if it's, if 12 speeds the highest, it's at like 8, right? And then he had a flat one, but it's all the way, the speed is all the way up to the highest, right? So you would have to be, you would start on 1. So you'd start on like the flat one, right? And it's 30 seconds and he's counting it. And I love Harry to death, but I know sometimes he's like supposed to be watching the clock. And then like a chick walks by and he's just like, oh, and like,
there goes another 10 seconds.
Exactly. And you're like, dude, I'm fucking going to die here. Like, dude, like there was a couple guys that like would fall off the treadmills and shit, but you
had to jump on them live. They were live, different moving.
Yeah. So it's like
you're going on the flat one, and then you got to jump up to the one that's on the incline going 8 miles an hour, and then you got to jump back to the flat one like that.
Yep, you do. Yeah, you do. So it's a 3-minute round. You do 30 seconds on each, and like you don't get the rest in between. He's like on you. If you're not on there, he's like, I'm adding fucking time. Get on. You know what I mean? So it's like you're on the flat, or you could start depending on which one you're starting on. I would rather start on the hill. I'll tell you the truth, because then like you finish with the flat. Finishing with the hill is the worst. And
get the misery out of the first.
Yeah. So like you start on whichever one. 30 seconds, and he's like, switch. You have to be real quick, otherwise he's just gonna add time, right? So it's like you switch right over, and like he's like, okay, don't jump on and hurt yourself. Like you swing the foot, and then you do it, and you go back and forth. So it's a 3-minute round, bro. like if you did 2 of them, you were so fucking smoked. Like it was a nightmare.
That was just the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. He would do like
warm up.
he would do like, because he would do it like, he'd be like, okay, some days we're doing conditioning first and the other day like we're doing technique, but you would get conditioning and technique, right? But like some days he would mix them in together, and some days he's like, look, we're gonna do 8 rounds of conditioning and then finish with mitts and bag work and stuff, right? And bro, like it was, but like Mike was saying, it was kind of a different element. Like the gym is tough now, and there's a bunch of tough guys there, and there's still guys that fight. But like it was like a different element. There was a lot of fucking dogs when we were there earlier, and it was like really more like a scrapping gym. Like we were fighting for New Breed and CCFC and like all that, like these up and coming promotions, and like UFC. Yeah, it was big, but it was still like in its infancy, really, back in those days, like 2010, 2011. And like Harry was fighting on Showtime and HBO and fucking, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just like a different world, but it was so like back then. I don't know. I was kind of happy when we moved and we didn't have all those fucking treadmills anymore.
Nice.
Yeah,
you're right about that. No, we had the Versa Climber though.
Oh, fuck that fucking Versa Climber.
Yeah. What's that? Is that that like the thing that you climb like a ladder almost?
Oh yeah. That thing sucks. But so
I haven't done that.
With the vest on.
Oh dude, you're not. Yeah, you're not missing much. But and then so Mike, like you said, you had like you'd wrestled and stuff, and I kind of felt the same way. It's like I know like the gist, right? Like I know like you be respectful when you're in there, you just like work hard, like don't be a dick, like those kind of things, right? And like that's how you get over in these types of places. Is that kind of the mindset you had when you started there?
Yeah, I mean, like I said in my podcast, I was humbled right away. So I made sure to before I got out of hand, with techniques and stuff like that, I made sure I was good first. yeah because I was getting my tail whooped for a little bit, at least 4 or 5 months before I caught anybody.
Oh dude, that's I think honestly that's one of the best things about the gym is that it does it almost like it humbles you, but it also gives you like goals and like gets you stuff like it like gives you things to try to attain. And like when you do get up a level and you start building the confidence and the knowledge, it is very, very rewarding because it's very well earned. Would you agree?
Oh, for sure. Once I got my first tap, it was a wrap from there. Everybody was getting that.
Oh, dude, it is. Yeah. You're on the same page.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was, so not only was it when I got my first tap, when I got my first higher level belt tap, that was when I was like, oh, I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Put the notch on the bedpost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, I remember, there is those days when you leave the gym, right? And you're like, this was like, there's a lot more days when you leave the gym, like, fuck, that was tough. But there is some days when you leave the gym, you're like, I fucking did it. Like, this was a fucking good one today. You know what I mean? And it was like, and it's not like you're like when you're playing chess, it's all chess. You know what I mean? Yeah. Chess, not checkers. And when you have like a good opponent in a good chess match and you were like mentally stronger and physically more game and, and you're able to overcome, it's a very, very rewarding feeling. And it's something it's like, but I feel even in those scenarios, if you lose, but you're pushed to a point of like really pushing yourself, it's just as rewarding,
Oh yeah, sure. I remember the first time I tapped Uncle Greg, and back then Uncle Greg was a motherfucker. Like he didn't care how fresh you were. No. Like into the gym, he beat the fuck out of you. And if you were a wrestler, you got it even worse because he wanted to prove his jiu-jitsu against how good your wrestling was.
Sure did.
And when I first got him, back then, he would take a group of us, like a group of 4 or 5 of us, and we all go into the ring. And that's where we trained, like outside of class. He'd have his own little, that's where Uncle Greg came from because we were like his little crew.
Yeah.
And the first time I got him, man, I think I was just about to be a purple belt. That's probably what got me my purple belt. But I jumped out of that ring and just left.
Yo, I was just gonna say,
because I knew the wrath that was about to happen.
Yeah, he was gonna make you pay for that for sure. Dude, I remember one of the first times we were training for, we were in the middle of training for that fight that we had in Jersey, Mike, at the Starland. And I remember I was training jiu-jitsu and Greg was teaching. And like, you guys know, like the guys at the gym know, I don't go over to the Brazilian jiu-jitsu side too much. But it's one of those things where it's like, or if ever, but it's one of those things like Rich was like, no, if you're gonna fight, you have to be somewhat competent, right? Like just kind of watch out for the basics, right? Because the guy I was fighting wasn't really good at jiu-jitsu either. So he knew just like watch out for the basics, right? So but I'm over there, right? And like Greg's teaching and I start fucking around and Greg's all about like, if he's the teacher, he's the alpha kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so I'm like fucking around doing stuff and he comes over and I like square up on him as just as a joke. Right. And I wasn't going to do anything, but I'm like, you know, like just being an idiot. And he fucking just kicks me right away. And I'm like, whoa, just messing around, guy. You know what I mean? Like,
where did he kick you?
He kicked me in the leg. Right on the dude, like right on the
around and find out, bro.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it was. He kicked me around he kicked me like right in the knee, and I'm like, what the flight? Like no pads on, his shins are made of concrete. I'm like, all right, buddy. And then like, you know, we got into a thing and he got me in like an arm bar, right? And like I went to stand up and pick him up from the arm bar, right? Like while he's holding me, and everyone's like, all right, this is over. This is stupid.
Wait a minute, you got into a thing. So where did it get from the kick in the ankle to arm bar?
Like he kicked me and I'm like, son of a bitch. So and I took him down.
So
like,
you grabbed him?
I took him down on like I shot on him and took him down to wrestling, which is kind of just what he wanted. And then and then as soon as I'm down there, he works right into an arm bar and I like have him on my arm and I'm grabbing like my hand while he's grabbing it. And I put my feet underneath me and stand up while he's holding my arm. And like Josh and a couple other guys come over and like, all right, this is done. Let's fucking, you know, don't be stupid kind of thing. Cause I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just like, all right, I was like, this is just a joke. Like I wasn't even doing anything. And then, but no, Greg. Dude,
and now we're here.
Dude, but that was also like 12 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever. Dude, Greg's my guy. I fucking love Greg.
Oh, that's awesome.
But, that was So no, I mean everything was smooth sailing after that. Dude, I remember too. Jamie would fight on that card too, and he was like my training partner in jiu-jitsu, and he would get so mad at me because I would be like, we would be training, and I would be like hitting him and stuff, and I'd be like, "This one's for your daughter," and then I was like, "Tell your daughter to wear something nice to the fights," and she was like 15, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have fucking said that." And he's like, "Don't talk about my treasures like that," and I'm like, "Ah!" And he's fucking he would get real hot, but nice. So okay, so let's keep it moving. So Chad, going to you. Same question. So when did you start at the Renzo Gracie PA Academy, and what was your like preconceived notion of what it would be like in there when you started? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm the baby of the bunch when it comes to Renzo experience. So I started in, when was it? It was July 2021. Okay. So I finally got the courage, let's say, to walk in the door, you know, and the confidence to do it. And when I started, like I didn't even really plan on signing up myself when I first came in. I was like, is this something I could do? But I wanted to do something with my two boys. Yeah. You know, they were they're 13 and 9 now. So like they've been at it for the past 2.5 years as well, you know, on and off with me. But like I wanted to do something that would instill some of those martial arts values, you know, and more than martial arts. Like I knew jiu-jitsu. I knew about it. I knew it was really legit. You know, I knew the Renzo Gracie program at the periphery, like the Gracies. Everybody knows the Gracies. You know, if you were following UFC or, you know, different things for a little while. Yeah. So, you know, the more I looked into it, I didn't really see myself doing it at first, but having some experience boxing at Larry Holmes' gym from my, you know, late teens into early 20s, like, you know, I was around that type of culture, but I didn't really want, you know, I wasn't looking for like an ultra competitive, you know, go brutal fight culture, you know, for my kids and what we were looking for. So then I love that there's a place for that, and everything. And, when I came in there to the first time, I remember talking to Jordan, and, we watched the class, and, he's like, yeah, we'll check it out. And I'm like, yeah, I wanted to do something, sign up the boys and, we can watch. And he's like, well, what about you? I said, well, I don't know. I'm in my 40s now. I was like 41, I think. I'm like, I had a lot of back pain, excuse like I have back pain and different issues, this and that. I don't think I can do it. He just looks at me. He's like, you come in and give it a try. He's like, yeah, listen. He's like, the average age here is 35. He's like, you can do it. He's like, you'll fit right in here. Just give it a try. Try one class,
bro.
Right?
This was Jordan.
This is Jordan.
Can you imagine Jordan's like monotone? Like if you know Jordan, Jordan's he's fun. He's hilarious, right?
He is.
But if you're just meeting Jordan, you're like, what is going on here? Like, because he's just like, he's so mild mannered, so laid back, but like
he's chill. He's kind of cool too. He's got like that cool, vibe kind of.
He's fucking Steve McQueen, dude. He's fucking Steve McQueen. Yeah.
So he's back here. He's like this. Like he's behind the desk. When you first walk, he's behind the desk. He's taping. His fingers must have been sore or something. He's taping his fingers. He's getting ready for class, and I see him taping his fingers. And I come in. I'm this guy. Like 40-year-old guy, heavy, comes in with
you were 80 pounds heavier at the time as well. Shout out losing 80 pounds.
I was. Thank you, brother. But hey, Renzo Gracie PA, Jiu Jitsu, Thickfitusa USA, lifestyle.
We'll have the before and after picture, right, that we used in the other clip. We'll have that right now too. So for those watching.
We keep working on that. We keep going with that. It's like a beautiful thing. This is an adventure. It's a journey.
Yeah. So I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. So I'm like here, not confident, like thinking, oh man, should I even really be here? Am I crazy even trying to think I can do this now at this point in my life?
Yeah.
And Jordan's back there and I'm talking and I'm saying, well, I don't know about me. And then he just stops a little bit and he pauses and he looks me in the eye, like dead in, when somebody looks you in the eye, like dead in the eye.
Yeah.
And then whatever they say to you, you usually listen, like you pay attention at the least.
Yeah.
So that little bit of that encouragement, right, that I got from Jordan at that time, that meant a lot more than he probably knows. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I came in then with my boys, like, hey, we got the class, we're starting kids class now. You can come and watch, and then they can try it the next time and come and we do the adult class right afterward. Right.
Yeah.
So I come in there, and we do the kids class and they liked it. And people that I met, were nice and friendly. You can tell there was a good culture there. There was a good vibe, within the whole gym. So even though I was a little bit intimidated and, by going in there and doing it, I felt at ease, right? I felt at ease after I went and talked to some people and I tried my first class. And he paired me up with Matol and Bob, and those guys, have been training for a little bit, and they're no spring chickens, like they're not starting it out at 18 years old or younger, or even in their early 20s. And they just took me under their wing and I worked with them. I remember we were doing like closed guard stuff and I was watching videos and like, oh, how do you do this, and that. And they were welcoming and they really helped me through that. And then I saw as people like tapped and rolled and they went from partner to partner. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But then, so I did that and I thought I was going to be crippled the next day. Right. I thought I was going to be laid up for like a week, after I did that first class, because I hadn't done anything active in probably a dozen years.
Yeah.
Right?
You're worried about your back and all that, right?
Yeah. All kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So, so going through that and then them welcoming me back. Right. And then I talked to Rich. They're like, hey, thanks. Great job. Coming back, and I signed up. I said, yeah, I think we can do this. We'll sign up for the package. So as we're doing that, it gives you some swag, and some garb and stuff. Right. So I mentioned this last time. It was like, I was a double X, coming from a triple X, right?
Yeah. Down
to a double X, at the time. And Rich is like, I got this shirt in an extra large. I don't have it in double X. I can order the double X. He said, I can give you the extra large right now and you'll have you fitting into it within 6 months, if you come here consistently.
Yeah.
And, the level of conviction and just how personal that was too. And I didn't believe he even had the guts to say that out loud, you know, and like, and mean it, but he meant it, right? So, you know, so that is my story about the culture, right? And about my impression, because those things, and then being part of it, and like I'm coming in out of shape, don't know anything, I'm getting my butt kicked left and right, you know, and I'm learning. Yeah, but it's so good because like everybody actually is trying to help each other get better, and you actually in jiu-jitsu, it's so cool because you actually feel and see yourself level up, like literally, you can see yourself leveling up, learning more skills, becoming more flexible, you know, doing some type of weird movement that I never thought I'd be able to do, having better understanding and control of your body. Like these might be little things, you know, to people who have stayed healthy and active their whole life. But, you know, for somebody like me that wasn't, and then came in and found this, and it was something they could do and encouraging and had the support and culture and getting to meet, you know, people like you, like Mike, like Don, like, you know, like all the people that are in this thing, you know, it attracts a certain type of person too, that, well, they're my people, you know? So that social aspect, not that I was looking to sign up for a place to go, you know, get a bunch of brand new friends. I'll tell you what, some of the relationships, it's one of the biggest benefits of it, because some of the relationships I've developed, you know, and built here, I mean, it's like I've known these people my whole life on that level. You know, when you talk to like a good friend and you just like vibe, you know, you connect. I find those connections with a lot of people that train there too. So just like culturally, you know, it fits for me and my personality and what I was looking for, and frankly, what I needed in my life.
Dude,
to be honest with you.
Couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. And I want to ask you this, and I'll ask all three of you, and Don, will start with you. So Don, you have 2 sons. Chad, well, Don, you have 3 sons, but 2 sons that have gone to the gym. Chad, you have 2 sons, and Mike, how many kids do you have? 45, 50?
Is that a Spanish joke?
No, dude, are you kidding? I'm Irish, right? If I'm going to make a joke about anyone having kids, I mean, come on. So, but no, how many you have? Because you have
my daughter and 2 boys.
Okay, so we'll start Don with you. As far as like bringing kids into this type of like the gym itself, what were you like? I always saw it, and I was raised that way. Because my dad started us boxing when I was 5 and started us wrestling when I was 7, right? And it's, you know, like, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu wasn't around when I was a kid, which it was, right? Well, like it wasn't accessible like it is now, we'll say. And but Don, for you, what are your thoughts of like bringing your sons to the gym, and like how do you view it? What do you think about it?
You're saying, what are my thoughts? Just bring them, like, what benefits do I get for bringing?
Yeah, like, are you just like, do you like, you know, because I'll tell you this, there is a lot of people out there, and there is, you know, kids are gonna fight, right? But like, as far as like, you know, like, I think, I mean, I don't know, some people are against kids like being taught combat sports and different martial arts and things like that. But for me, I've always seen it as nothing but a positive, and nothing but like just character building and structure building and, you know, discipline and things like that. But what were your thoughts like, or because both of your sons have come, and dude, I'll tell you, I won't say his name, but little man.
You can say his name, I don't mind.
All right, Bryson, dude. Bryson is David's a stud too, but Bryson is next. Like that kid, when he was 5, I was like, this kid's fucking next level, but he's fucking throwing it.
So I think it's necessary.
Yes.
I think there's so many different benefits of training in combat sports, whether it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, etc. Like you said, it's character building, it's discipline, it's confidence building, all of the above, right? Even and I speak to this a lot. Like boxing is my favorite sport. Yeah. Even in the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, they actually make every cadet train in boxing because they said there's so many parallels between life and boxing. As I've always said, in life, you get hit, you get knocked down, right? Same thing in boxing. You get hit, you get knocked down, but you get back up and you learn to adjust and make adjustments, and you overcome long term. So that's my thing when it comes to just training in combat sports. Now, for my sons in particular, like I'm a huge fan of making sure that they do have the ability to defend themselves, right? And it's not just, and I've always said to my sons, listen, my goal is not to make you some brute or professional. That's not really what this is about.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is about learning a self-defense mechanism. Yep. And I'd rather have you in a position where you know how to use it, but don't have to. Yes. As opposed to being in a position where you have to defend yourself and you don't know how. Correct. So I think there's so many different benefits of young children training in combat sports. Yeah. Even now, like, I mean, you've been there with my oldest, my 16-year-old rather.
Yeah.
Like I would make him.
He's 16 now?
16 now. Yeah, 16.
Oh, dude, I remember, I'll tell you this. And I remember you and him would spar. You and David would spar. Yep. And I remember, dude, honestly, same thing happened to me when I was a kid. I would have to spar my dad a lot. And I'll tell you, as far as like, you were much nicer to him. We'll just say. But no, you're dude, but it's something like, as a man, he needed that. I firmly believe, like, one, you weren't I know you're a grown man, but you weren't hurting him, right? Like, right. You were mostly just you pump and stick and barely pumping in at that, and just being like, like kind of like, keep your hands up here, close your guard here, like, like, and really you were just letting him fucking wail on you, really. Exactly. And like, but kind of just teaching him, like, you are going to be scared, but you have to face your fear, and like, you're not made of glass. Like, those are just invaluable lessons you have to learn, especially as a man. That is something you need as a man. I couldn't agree more. And I remember watching that, and afterwards I was like, that's good fucking parenting is what that is. You know what I mean?
What's interesting about that, there was this one time, Malik asked me to bring David over to his gym to spar some young kid. This guy literally just started, like, he had minimal training. Yeah. He probably was at it no more than a few months.
David was.
So, okay. This other kid, but David had been at a few years now. Yeah. So I take him over there. David's doing his pad work, warming him up. They get in there, and Malik says, okay, you're just going to work on defense for the first round. Mm-hmm. First thing he says is, I'm not good at defense. I'm like, oh my God, why would you say that to yourself in a situation like that? Yeah. And the guy was a little taller than him, but the guy was not that good at all. Yeah. And they get in there, they do the first round. Second round, they start throwing some punches back and forth. Yeah. And not that he beat David's ass, but he was just like really giving him a hard way to go. And I was pissed. Because I'm like, you basically psyched yourself out.
Yes. Like you mentally beat himself.
Yeah, that is right.
So I said to him afterwards, I'm like, you know what? I wasn't gonna say anything. And I'm like, you know what, man? You embarrassed me. Yeah. You embarrassed the hell out of me. I said, I don't really care. I said, I don't really care if you lose. What I care about is how much effort you put in. Yeah. Right. We had that talk, right? Mm-hmm. We come to Renzo one day, and there's this one kid, I forget his name. He wasn't even Irish, but he had like an Irish accent. I think his dad was from Ireland.
Michael.
He was tall.
Yeah, the blonde-haired
Michael.
Rough dude.
Yes.
I like the shit out of that kid. He was a rough fucking kid, though.
He was good.
He was real, and he was a pain, but he could go.
Yes, they sparred. So I said, listen, I don't want you in there talking yourself. And I knew the kid was good. I already knew what was going to happen. But I said, listen, use your defense. Yep. I really don't care if you get your ass beat. That's part of the sport. Right. What I care about is your effort. I forget what I said to him. Yeah. First round, it was pretty competitive, and Michael just started timing him. Yeah. And just basically like you had to stop it, right? Yeah. You had to stop. That's how bad it got. Yeah. But what I saw was that
David's been on the other end of those too, though.
Right. But he actually, what I liked most about it was they didn't quit.
Yes.
And he was putting forth the effort.
And he went out on his shield.
You know what?
Yes.
Right. No matter what the case is, if you don't quit and you keep going, that's all I can ask for. You put forth the best you could do, more power to you. So that's my little thing.
No, and that's a lesson he should learn. Like, you're not like, and I think every man will learn that eventually, is that you're not, dude, tell you now, but I mean, no one wins every fight. I don't care who you are, no one wins every fight. Right. So, and like, but for him to know, like, even though this guy might be a little more highly skilled, I'm still game. I can still fight him. I can stay in here. I'm not like, like, you ain't no chump, right? Like that's like, he needed to show himself that. And you made, like, you showing him that he can do that. I'm telling you, it's honestly changed. That moment changes his life 100%. Yeah. What were you going to say, Justin?
No, you know my older stepbrothers. My stepfather moves in, those kids move in, and when we start getting in fights, my stepdad would break it up, hand us both a set of gloves, and go in the backyard. Now, I was previously the oldest of my household. I've been in, other than like 3 street fights, very few. The middle one of my brothers, who you know, is a athletic monster. Yeah, he's good at everything and a beast.
And he also was made fun of, so he's very angry.
Yeah, he was fat and had fucked up teeth until he was like 14.
He was like really picked on, so he was like an ornery dude.
So that scenario, like my stepdad knows, he's like, I don't know you. And he knows I don't like him. He's handing me a pair of gloves. He's like, go fight my toughest son. I have not boxed.
Okay.
I've never bought boxing gloves in my life. Never have punched the punching bag. I fought Ryan the boys and a couple scrawny kids from North Wales. That's it.
Right.
Hands me the gloves. I put them on. He's like, ties them, we go in the backyard. My brother beats the ever living shit out of me. But like I keep getting up, I keep giving him an effort, right?
Yeah.
He like pats his
throwing windmill fucking these guys.
I come in the backyard last and he looks at me and he goes, you learn a couple things today? I was like, I looked at him like, yeah. And he's like, that's the only thing you're gonna take from today. And I was like, okay. Like you're like, I've lost more in every fight I've lost than I've ever won in a win.
Yeah. So so real quick, one thing, when you talked about the boxing at Annapolis, my grandfather graduated from Annapolis in the same graduating class as Jimmy Carter, the former president. And my grandfather also won his weight class, and I think it's called brigades. Yeah,
it's a brigade. Yep, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal. NBD. And then it's what you're saying. So my dad was the same way. Is that I was always big for my age, and I had a brother that's 2 years older than me, and we would fight all the time. And my dad would be like, all right, if you guys are going to fight, we're going to go in the garage and put on the gloves. And like, I remember and I'll fucking scream this story from the rooftops. So I hope you're fucking listening, Tom, is that so my dad was there and he had a thing, like he would tell us like 4 jabs before every right hand, like, just like small shit. Right. But we're in there and we're boxing. And the way my garage was set up is like, we had like a corner that was padded. And I had like a wrestling mat on the ground, but it was like, I remember it was like winter because I had a friend over and I also had a little brother and my dad had put them on different sides of the garage and they were our cheering section. Right. So like my friends cheering for me is Alan Bach, former friend of the show, guest of the show. And then my little brother, Alex, is cheering for my brother and we're going and I'm getting the better of Tom. Right. And the reason is because I'd watched, we had talked and it was recent, something about like the Ali Foreman fight, right? And the rope-a-dope. So I was just like covering up, staying on the wall, like on the ropes, and he would throw and get tired. And I was just like, bam, like 4 jabs on the right, 4 jabs on the right. And he just kept like, he was getting so angry because he was just like, and like the more angry he got, the more wild he threw and the more exhausted he got. And I was just like, bam, right? And then eventually he punches me in the nuts, right? Like fucking hard punches me in the nuts, bro. And my dad, right? Remember, we're in a garage, right? We're in a garage, right? There, it's fucking winter because I remember Alan was wearing his starter jacket, so it's winter time. We're in a garage. We have wrestling mats that are like they turn into rocks when they're on fucking frozen concrete, right? My dad picks up Tom and fucking slams him. I'm like 10, Tom's maybe 12, and fucking slams him and he yells this at him. He's like, you hit him there, those don't grow back.
You like that. That's how you enforce rules.
Yeah, he's like, you don't fucking do that, right? You know what I mean? He's like, you fucking, he was yelling at him. He's like, it's not, but then like eventually he would tell us like, if you're ever in a street fight, all rules are out the window. You want to hit the dick, hit him in the fucking dick. But yeah. So, all right. I want to take this time now to make a special announcement. We have been joined by the man, the myth, the friend of everybody, N-Dub's favorite son, Strong Stem Steve Cabot. Strong Stem, thanks for joining us, pal. How are you, sir?
Doing fantastic. Looking around, seeing all these good faces. I didn't know Mike was going to be here. See, this is you know how there's the ACDC? It's kind of like the Abu Dhabis, but it's not. I had to go against Mike in it, and I won.
You
so,
fucking brought that.
Is that the belt?
Yeah, I bought this for $10 at Party City. Party City's the shit, but I wore this into Christmas because my little cousin wrestles now, and I was telling him he ain't gonna get this until he beats me. But
so Steve, real quick, I want to ask you a question that we've asked everybody.
Sure.
So you were at the Renzo Gracie PA Academy before me and before Mike, right? So we want to know, when did you go there? Like, when did you start? And then what was your preconceived notion before going in there? And then what did it turn out to be?
I love telling this story to people because, man, what an experience. It's an experience that only a person that's going to do it's going to have, right? So one of Rich Lotta, the owner, one of his guys he used to work with was a longtime bouncer and my older brother's best friend, right? Okay. So he wrestled a little bit, but he also played baseball and Cabot. But he was like, hey, my buddy that I work with has this gym. They do Jiu Jitsu. And at the point, I had no idea what Jiu Jitsu was. We're like, I don't know, 2000 fucking.
Yeah, like Ultimate Fighter wasn't even on TV yet.
Not even like a thing yet. I mean, I saw some Pride videos at that point and shit, but there was nowhere you could actually go to
still
train.
Like the number one name. Right. Yeah.
So like, so again, he was like, you're wrestling. I know you're trying to find a coaching gig, but maybe you like this shit while you're going on. I'm like, did you ever try it? He's like, yeah, it's cool. And I'm like, all right, cool. So he tells me the gyms that I show up. I ask for Rich, and Rich is like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, no problem. And I like walk in and look around, and, I see guys. I think I went on a gi day. They did a lot of gi back in the day. Yeah. He has, I don't know if they still do, but okay. Yeah. So of course, so I see all these guys in the karate outfit, right? And
the pajamas.
At this point, I've wrestled my whole life since I was 5 years old at a pretty high level against some of the best guys in the like I knew you could get beat in wrestling, but you're not going to punk me, right? Like you're not gonna bitch me, right?
Exactly what we were.
So I walk in there and I'm like, I'm looking around, right? And I'm like, these fucking guys in their outfits. I'm like, I'm gonna slam the shit out of these dudes. I can't wait, right? I was hyped. Yeah. And Rich was like, I'm like, yeah, Rich, I wrestle, and he was like, yeah, we have wrestlers in here. And I'm like, I'm not. A lot of kids say that. I hate to say this. A lot of kids on our wrestling team would always say that. Like, I wrestle. I'm like, please don't tell people that. Like, you're a JV. You've never won a match in your life. Don't say you wrestle. Just say you participated in wrestling, but you're not a wrestler, right? You could say I was on the wrestling team, but don't say you're. Never mind. But so I walk in there. I'm like, yeah, all right. Well, yeah, I'm sure there's some guys that can probably wrestle, but if we start on our feet, I'm fucking everybody up. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, okay, buddy, right? Like, I noticed in hindsight, Rich's calm demeanor while I tried to throw this fucking 23-year-old, 24-year-old swag at him. He was like, yeah, all right, buddy. You're gonna learn quick. And I was like, wait, what was that? What was that? He was like, nothing, man. Sounds great. We're really excited to have you. He's gonna get his ass kicked. And he's like looking around. He's like, let's see, who do I want to choke this motherfucker out? He's like, you, right? So we go to the white belt classes. Obviously, in the very beginning, when you're doing the beginner classes, I get in there. I'm fucking smoking these guys. Right. All of a sudden, Padilla walks in too. He's in there real close to me. We're killing these dudes, right? We're like,
in the white belt class, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. We're already, wrestled my whole life. Like we got the grappling thing down, right?
Right.
Just not the chokes. And these people aren't experienced enough to be able to choke you or submit you, correct?
Right.
So it's pretty easy to defend. So you're basically doing like passing drills and shit like that, which is, now we want to do the ski. And I'm like, this is like fucking a double leg, swat, get out the way, diving on him. I'm like, shit's easy. Yeah. So Rich is like, hey, you and Mike, you guys are doing well. You guys want to come up to I want you guys to come to the stay for the advanced classes. And we were like, yeah, all right, say less. Seeing these guys walking around too. I'm gonna fuck everybody up.
Yeah.
And now in my mind, because now I've been working in the white belt class for 3 months, I might as well be fucking Renzo Gracie at this point.
You're ready. You're in trouble. Everybody's in trouble.
Yeah. I watched the YouTube videos. I see fucking Dean Lister doing shit with ankles. I was like, I got it. I got it. Let's go.
You're like, Rich, watch out. I'm coming for you.
I got Mike with me. Like, Mike's close to the same weight. He's a fucking tough ass dude. I'm like, hell, you got to fuck these bulls up. Go in there. And the first guy I go against, oh my God, I can't remember his name. I have CTE out the wazoo. I must, because I can't remember names to save my fucking life. But older gentleman, half my size. I don't know, fucking 50, right? I'm 24. He's 50. This guy could be my dad, right? I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna smoke this shit out of this guy? Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, I noticed we started on our knees, which I was like, well, that sucks. When we were
takes away your number one,
Well, there goes my number one weapon, but we'll figure it out from here, right? I already beat the shit out of everybody in the other class except for Mike. I'm beating the shit out of these people. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, as we're rolling, I start to notice immediately, because wrestlers are pressure guys. So immediately when I push him into guard, because I don't like being on my back yet, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Push him into guard and pressuring through him, putting all my weight on him, you know, pinning him. All of a sudden I feel like my fucking feet aren't like touching the ground in some positions and shit. And I'm like, yo, like, what the fuck just happened, right? Like, did I just hit space? Am I floating? Like, what the fuck just happened, right? So I'm like, it's all good. I'll just pressure down on this pussy. Let me get this pit. Next thing you know, I'm like looking around at the gym walls. And I remember him kind of having my neck and me being like, I can still breathe. We good. Because in wrestling, if you can still breathe, you're good.
Good.
And nobody told me you can still breathe and get choked the fuck out.
Right.
I'm sitting there like, you know, like a headlock, a tight headlock. I'm all right. Well, I didn't know my fucking blood was not going to my brain. Next thing you know, I hear the guy like, yo. You know how when you first wake up from getting zombie.
Oh, so you went out. You went out.
Oh, yeah. Dog, I went out many a times. Oh, I'm going out because remember, I was
pretty stubborn.
I was ready.
Wow.
That was the first time. That was your first time there, and you're like, listen, I'm going to smoke these people. You go up against a guy, you find your feet in the air, and then before you know what you're coming to, and they're talking you back into your body.
And it's a little feller. It's a little feller. I wake up and I feel like Rip Van Winkle. I look around and I felt like 80 years went by. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
What was he?
At that point,
there was
probably a purple and brown.
Nah.
I wonder who
We
he
had
is.
one purple.
Wow.
We had like what, a couple purples.
We had no purple.
Rich was a brown. No, little ass. What's his name was a purple.
Baby J.
Asian Eric and Baby J.
No, Baby J got his
Eric.
purple maybe with us. And Asian Eric, I think it was Asian Eric, who was the nicest guy too. He was
Asian
the man.
Eric, yeah.
Awesome guy. But again, so then, you know, I'm like, you know, in my mind, it doesn't, none of that's adding up. I'm like, there's no fucking way that just happened.
That was
like,
a mistake. That was a mistake, right?
It was a glitch in the system.
Yeah.
Like, fuck
Like,
this
whoa,
shit, right?
yeah.
I
That was
turned my
locked.
hat backwards.
Yep.
I fucking,
Yeah, you're over, getting over the
eyebrows
top now.
down.
Over
Yep,
the top.
yep.
this pussy ain't doing that again.
Not again. I got lucky. You get lucky once.
Yeah, even a garbage can gets a steak.
And it happened very quickly again. And I was like,
Wow.
what the
That's awesome.
fuck happened? And then, you know, of course, like some of the older guys, like the one I always loved too, Tom the cop. Tom would be like, he loved wrestling.
He was only
so
a blue belt then.
Yep. I was gonna say, Rich was only a brown belt. Yeah. Who's the tall, like Brazilianish or Portuguese guy that had? Didn't he have a purple belt? He showed up sometimes here and there. Big, tall guy. Remember, Mike? He went to some of the fights with us. Like real good looking. Always like was like charismatic and forget that guy's name. But yeah, we were there. What was there when we were there?
Yeah,
we were like the first, you know, real class. I guess.
First
Rich, Rich was still a brown when you guys were first there, right?
When we got our blue
Rich
belts,
actually,
shit, like, they had to bring the Gracies
honestly,
in, right?
I think Rich was only a purple belt.
Wow.
When we started.
How many guys were there?
When I started, Rich was a purple belt.
Shut
I remember
the
he got
fuck
his I remember he got his brown belt. He had to go to New York. He got his brown belt.
Yep.
And then it went years before he got his black belt because he didn't want to go.
The whole time
How many guys were training there with you guys?
Go ahead, Don.
No, I was gonna say that's actually so. One of the things that I do is I tap early and I tap often.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
One of my fears is
I
was rolling a few weeks ago. Guy named not Dave Roberts, Dave Light.
Yeah.
So he has me in a triangle.
Yeah.
And it wasn't tight, like I could fight it, but I was there for like a minute and I felt like the pressure in my head.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, you know, let me just go ahead and tap before I'm like,
yeah.
So I tap early and often. I'm not. No,
that's smart, dude. You piss yourself too, people.
Yeah,
just to let you know, fucking. You
I
can
tapped when I got those.
We were 27.
Yeah. What are you gonna say?
27.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and remember, it was the part that used to get on mine there is too. You'd walk into the old Hatfield gym and you have to walk through like the workout center, right? So I would see some parents that I knew and shit, and they're all they see me in a gi and they're all like, "You going to karate?" I was like, "Dog, karate." It made me feel like the same thing when people used to go, "Oh, you only wrestle for 6 minutes. Like that can't be hard. It's only 6 minutes." Same way I felt when they're like, "Oh, you going to karate?" I'm like, "Pussy, come in there. Show you karate."
Yeah.
Motherfucker. I got choked out by the janitor. All right.
Yeah. Chad, what were you gonna say?
I was saying I tapped when I got those Don Lyons Kimuras wrenched out back behind my arm.
It's getting to the point now where I'm known for Kimura, so I'm trying to diversify
Oh,
my
yeah, you're
game.
known for them.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was actually my first. The reason I think I stick to Kimuras, as I was saying earlier, my first high level belt submission came off of a Kimura.
Yeah, you know your sweet
powerful
spot
in the game.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now I will say this though: the one thing I know about jiu-jitsu though is that the levels to it are crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Like so, there's guys that I can roll with, and I'm like competitive, and there's guys that I roll with, and I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? It's like, what? Like I rode with Sydney one day. I rode with Sydney Outlaw, and it wasn't even. Yeah. It was almost like he was just like me playing with my son. Like, hey, just, you know what? Just move your arm. I'm gonna choke you here.
Yeah. Dude, there's some guys like I mean, like, dude, I remember when Rich was like still doing it a lot before he was like hurt all the time. Like he's like legit like a snake. Like there's some guys like I legit feel like I'm like Padilla, you're one of them too, where it's like you're fucking twisting and wrapping around people. I'm like, what are you doing here? How's your leg wrapped around my leg 3 times? What's going on here? You know?
When I used to go in and see like Rich stretching, I was like, how the fuck does a guy built like him stretch like that, right? So the other big thing is the progression of Mike, right? Obviously, I was with Mike a lot. Mike was, I'll say this proudly, at least me and Mike were like pretty close with like our skills at like blue belt level, right? Right. And then Mike learned in like, you know, this is where he just fucking took off and is now the freak he is. Yeah. He learned like, all of a sudden it clicked for him with the dexterity of his knees and like switched his game to this like rubbery type game. Yeah. That shit was fucking, I used to like want to fucking bang my head off the wall. This motherfucker would just tie you up and shit. You didn't even know where it was coming from. I'm like, how the fuck is your knee near my fucking eyebrow? When this and I was already like, you know, 2 years deep with this kid. I'm like, I thought I knew what he was. All of a sudden, this new fucking adventure of his, you know, dexterity and rubber game, man. He's fucking big ups.
Wow. What is it, Mike? What are you on YouTube?
What was that, Mike?
That's when so we came up, like there wasn't much like content on jiu-jitsu back then. But like we were at the like I guess like the beginning of when, you know, a lot of jiu-jitsu started showing up on YouTube, and I was just a nerd. I would just sit on my phone for hours just nerding out on jiu-jitsu technique and other jiu-jitsu people.
Do you remember? Go ahead, Don.
No, because the one thing. So when I first saw Mike, I was actually taking my son.
Yeah. I was teaching your kid.
Yeah, you were teaching, and not that you're a pretty boy, but you're not a pretty boy. If that makes sense.
Right.
No, he's a pretty boy. Right?
He's a pretty
Mike,
boy, right?
Mike likes to look fancy.
He's just a pretty boy that'll choke the shit out of you.
So like I came with my belt one day in class, and he's like, hey, listen, I gotta fix your belt, but I can't let you go out like that. He's gotta fix my belt for me. I'm like, all right. But so my question is like what so obviously your progression and your skill set obviously is amongst the gym. It's like the gold standard. So my question to you is like, what do you think? I don't know what it is. What do you think you did to really not even get to the black belt level, but what do you think you did to really elevate your game? What was it? If that's the question
I just wasn't scared. Like I wasn't scared to try new things and not stay you know, stagnant in one style. You know, Rich got me to Rich and Greg got me to a certain level, but like you'll see the like differences in our game, like from where my game's a little more modern, and they're like their basics is on another level. Like,
their foundation's unreal.
Yeah, right. They'll get you that spot, and then like, and I think it depends on the practitioner what you do with that knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, like we all have different body types. Like, we all don't move the same. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm short legs. You know, whatever it may be. You know, we got to figure it out on our own from there. And like I said, I just nerded out, and I wasn't scared to get swept. I wasn't scared to get submitted. Like I just threw myself in there. Yeah, figured and try to swim out basically. Yeah, you're drowning for a while, you know what I mean? Like, you're just drowning for a while. Just trying to swim up, and then all of a sudden, whoop, that's it.
Dude, that's you're 100% right. One of the big things that like I would agree with you is like you got to drop the ego if you want to gain levels.
Shit gets checked.
Yeah, you can't worry about like your reputation of like, oh, I don't get that. Like you can't, like, you need to press yourself against, like, if you're the guy that's just going with the lower level guys because you're scared to get tapped by going with the higher level guys, then fuck off. Right. Like that's just that's like that just doesn't work. Right. Like you need, like, you got to throw the ego out the door. You know what I mean? Right. Like that. Couldn't agree. Would you?
I was chasing the higher belts. I was chasing them. Exactly. I chased a lot of them out of the gym.
Right out of the gym. There's, I mean, would you say too, like because I guess back then, right, like rubber guard just kind of started to be like
a thing, really.
Like BJ Penn, was he like an early influence? Because like Mike, you would adapt that of like the ultra flexibility, right?
Eddie Bravo.
Like, Eddie Bravo's who I really got it from.
Eddie's the man.
That's where I really got it from.
Eddie's the man.
Nice.
If I had to say what like two practitioners that like really influenced my game, had to be in the beginning Eddie Bravo for sure, and then like a Hoffa Mendez.
Hell yeah.
And his brother Guy Mendez. But those guys, I probably emulate my game from, passing styles and submission, hunting and stuff like that.
Mike, how did you do that? So like I've been just training for like 2.5 years and I'm just learning everything, you know, but I feel like what you're saying, like as a blue belt, you're trying to understand yourself, your body type, and get your own style, you know, and branch off and what works for you. Like how did you do that? Like what I know you're saying, like watching the videos and studying some certain people and like, having the confidence, but like, how did you do that? Like, how did that process work for you as you were kind of getting to that edge, you know, where you're ready to go?
Yeah, like I think using your imagination too, like, is huge. Like I always tell like white belts when they first come in, like, listen, like you don't know shit, like you don't know anything. Your best weapon right now is your imagination. Keep them in this little area and then just make shit up. You know, and you always got to make sure you stick them with a good partner. Right in the beginning, so that they can control the dance, right? Because jiu-jitsu is a dance, right? So I'll stick them with a higher level guy. That way they can control the dance and let this guy experiment with his imagination. You know what I mean? Rather than trying to muscle everything, I'm like, loosen up, use your imagination to get places. Dude, try to see it before it happens.
And just so people know too, and just so people know, that's all well and you need that. But Mike's also a fucking gym rat, so don't let him confuse you. Motherfucker was never good, right? So that sounds great, and that's how but you got to put a bazillion, your 10,000 hours in, and this motherfucker did. You know what I mean? Like every time I showed up, and I was in that fucker every day. He was there all the. This motherfucker was. He had a cot in the back.
I would say too, one of the things, like the foundation has to be strong, but I think wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu are very similar, where it's like, and boxing is the same way. It's forever evolving. It is forever evolving. Like once you put
one-on-one combat sport.
Yeah. Once you put in your 10,000 hours, right? Like you're like, you have your foundation and things like that, but then you're going to start to elevate and like try new things. And like you're saying, and change the game, right? Like, rubber guard wasn't invented until someone had to change.
Rich told me it was junk.
Really?
Rich told me it was
That's
junk.
the thing.
Uncle Greg told me it was junk. And then next thing you know, I'm tapping all the purple belts with bullshit with junk.
Dude,
and they're like, okay, I guess just do it.
Yes, it works.
Uncle
Greg's another one. I remember my first interpretation. I see this older guy in the ring. He's working with like fucking Omar. I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's in there with that motherfucker. And he's got he's got knee pads on. And I'm like, there's no way that old man is good. I will fucking double leg this bull. I will ankle pick this guy 1,000 times out of 1,000. Like there's not a day in the world where he's going to be able to choke me out. And before I could even say that, my, he's the only human on earth. I always say this. So Omar, if he could go with me and Mike all the time. He likes wrestlers and he likes us like getting in on them. He feels like he's 100 pounds on top of you, right? Because when he wants to do that, Now he also has submitted me with just his stomach on my face, but he knows. Uncle Greg, I've never felt a heavier human when he's on top of you than any like just the pressure he applies to you. I'm like, is this guy fucking 300 pounds?
Yeah.
And he's got his chest hair in your face.
Smashing you. You can barely breathe. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Oh, hold on. And does anybody ever know, Mike, could I ask, whatever happened to Avery? Does anybody still keep up with Avery?
Oh, man.
He's like a doctor.
Because he wrestled at Upper Perk. I used to see him. He wrestled for the high school. So I would see him at tournaments and shit. But did he stick with jiu-jitsu?
He came back. No, he came back for a little bit. He was helping me with the kids' classes.
He was good.
He got a girlfriend.
He's a good kid.
Great kid.
He's like a doctor now or something.
Yeah,
he's
his
smart
dad's
guy.
the man too. Love
his dad was the man. I agree.
Love Rich.
Good people.
Yeah, real good. So let's keep it moving. So Don, I'm going to kick it back to you. We're going to do another question. So I wanted to ask, what is your favorite thing about the Renzo Gracie PA Academy?
You know, I don't know if there's one favorite thing. I think one of the things that helps me is specifically the academy itself, not necessarily what it does for me. Just the academy itself. I do like the sense of camaraderie amongst everyone that I train with. It feels like there's a sense of helpfulness amongst everyone. Like, even though you're going against a higher level guy, there's always that sense that he or she's trying to help you get better.
Correct.
And it seems like everyone's trying to help each other get better. That's one of my favorite things with the academy. It's a very family oriented environment, and I attribute that directly to Rich, because that obviously starts with him. So that's pretty one of my favorite things about the academy. I always feel at home.
I would say two of the big reasons for that. So one of them is Mike Vrabel had a saying when he was playing for the Patriots and he was on a dynasty team. He would say the best teams are the ones where the veterans are teaching the younger guys how to take their job. Right. And it's the same thing at the gym, where the higher belts are always coaching up the younger belts, because steel sharpens steel, and your training partners are your
I was just going to say that. Yep.
But the second thing, I think, why it's a success is that there is no fresh meat at this place. That is something that is kicked back against, and that starts with Rich, where it's like, if someone sees a higher skilled guy putting it out on the lower skilled guys, that guy gets checked so fast, right? And like, he's in trouble, right? Like, if Jordan were to see that, right? Or like, Mike, he would have to do it as well. Greg, Rich, I remember on boxing, I would have to do it. Dirty Dan would have to do it. If you see a higher skilled guy coming in, trying to be a dick to the new people and just like trying to build their ego, that shit is, you won't last if you continue to do that. And two, you're in for a fucking reckoning if you try that shit. And I think that allows people in there to feel like, because you do want some sense of protection when you're there, right? Like, to know like nothing's ever going to get out of hand, and nothing ever will. And I think that part of the culture stems from that, of knowing like that shit doesn't fly. There's no bullying or anything like that. You can have an ego and you can go hard and all that stuff, but like that kind of shit, that doesn't play. You know what I mean? And I think that's
Matt Enforcer's always there.
Oh, you have to have it. You have to have it. The alpha does have to check. That's for sure. So nice. I would agree with you, Don.
I used to love that.
Oh,
it was that a good day, Mike?
It gave me the go.
Yeah.
When you had to wear that hat, the Matt Enforcer hat.
I used to love it, because like I would just have to look at Rich. He'd just give me a look, and that was it.
Okay.
And I
think
like,
Rich liked that too. I think Rich liked, like, he would be like, sick him. You know what I mean? And then it was like 2 rounds straight. 2 rounds straight, and you don't even tap the guy. He's like, the rule, we weren't allowed to tap him. We just had to make him feel miserable. Yeah. Think about that. That's 10. Awesome. That's 10 minutes of busting him up. Like, we would do like on the boxing side, we do like shark bait and stuff too. Or like, I would just keep, like, you would just keep them until they're done, like until they quit. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's one of those things where it's, honestly, I always like took that, like, I was honored to be in that position. You know what I mean? Like, I was very like, I don't know, Mike, would you agree? Where it's like, it's an honor to defend this place and to defend the culture.
I just wanted to fuck people up, honestly.
Yeah. Mike's just trying to fuck people up.
There's that too. If you got that,
give me the go,
there's that too.
For jdub, if I could explain Mike's personality and his the soul inside of him, he would be related to Brandon Hill for sure.
Hell yeah.
Like, they're very similar the way those two move.
They just want, like, Brandon Hill is the type that, like, I wish you would pick a fight with me.
I wish motherfucker
anytime I was ever with Hill, I was like the same attitude. Like, it's not even me. I'm like, I wish somebody would say something dumb just to watch this kid
just to
wipe the floor with you.
He has we call it a hurt fix, where it's like, he just like he has a fix, and he, like, his fix is hurting people, and if he doesn't get his fix in, watch the fuck out,
But I'll tell you what seriously, like, that's a real thing, and like, God bless Jiu Jitsu and combat sports and things like that too.
Yes. Right.
To have a forum and a culture and something that doesn't degrade, like your family and everything else. Because if you like to fight and you have that in you, you go out and fight, you get it. Doesn't work out well.
You gotta get it out somewhere.
Yeah, but you have this, right? And it's like a really great way to tap into that. Yes, and release stress and to use that energy in like a productive way that's not going to, land you in the slammer, right?
See, Chad, I think you're more like me. Like, I grew up around killers. I wasn't a killer. I was born an afraid, chubby child, like, wasn't aggressive. And like between Mr. Freiling as my first Squires coach, so like growing up with Cabot and Hill and the Romeos and Sean Day, like these I have been molded into. I need it. I desire it and I want it, and I'm not afraid of it anymore. And like at a point in time in my life, like I would not have been that person if it wasn't for that group of people. I would be a much different person.
Yeah. But then once that gets in your blood and you got that, how to control that and use it in your life.
Because I had it in me, but I wasn't directing it that way. I was just frustrated and angry. Yeah. And then it was like, no, you can punish people in a respectful way. I was like, oh, okay. I would like to try this.
No, dude, I couldn't agree more.
What's this you speak of?
Yeah. What's this hurting people? Huh? That sounds something I'd
controlled way.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like there's shit we do in the gym that would get you locked up on the street. And it's like, but it's all good because it's controlled. So Mike, moving on to you, besides checking punks, what's your favorite thing about, we'll say Renzo Gracie, but also because Padilla Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is very much the same thing. So what is your kind of favorite thing about the culture of the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu gym?
I mean, I don't know. I think it just gave me an opportunity to do something else in my life. I mean, Rich really gave me a big opportunity.
Couldn't agree more.
I think my favorite memory with him was probably like I was like a blue belt, or no, I think I was a purple belt, and like I stopped, like I couldn't pay anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, I can't. I'm gonna take a break. Blah blah blah. But he's like, what? I was like, you're not going nowhere. He's like, we'll just have you teach a wrestling class or something. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
That sounds just like him too.
And then I don't think like for me, like that was so,
genuine.
Yeah, like back then, like nobody was giving me shit, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he just gave me a free ride.
Yeah.
And not only that, like opened doors to me at other gyms. Like other people started letting me go to their gyms because I needed the cross training more other people needed it. Like I needed another level. And like before Jordan got there, it was only, it was like me, like Jordan was the only one that gave me a hand, like hang with me, I had to go travel to get my ass whooped. And like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the teacher I am today or the grappler I am today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
that
was my favorite.
Dude, he is. I'll tell you, that's one thing that I'll scream from the rooftops. That's a special fucking guy right there, man. Rich is he is the fucking best. He's done. I mean, I can't even speak about all the things he's done for me. And I know, Mike, you're in the same boat. And I was in a similar situation where I was strapped for cash and I had to stop. And he's like, no, you'll just come in and be the boxing instructor now. And I'm like, all right, I guess that's it. And 14.
I think honestly, he had it all planned out.
Yeah. He's like, look, I'm sick of coming in early on Tuesdays. You doing anything? So no, I'm 100% with you, man. He fucking Rich is just, I couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. So, and he's part of what makes that place incredible and what helps build, like, that's a better culture. It's like kind of what Rogan talks about, where it's like a better overall world culture. Like he contributes what he does, what Rich does in his mentality and the way he treats people. It makes the world a better place. And the things he does and the things he allows to people to create and manifest for themselves, he has definitely contributed to the world and made the world a better place just by him being him. And
100%.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
No, that's actually, and I thought about that today. Like I've actually thought about that a lot in terms of the Renzo and Hatfield in terms of its culture. And I think that speaks to broader institutions. When you look at like large corporations and you talk about company culture, right? Each company has its own culture, its own nuances. It can be a very thriving and welcoming culture, or it can be a very disastrous and depressive culture. No, a lot of that starts at the top. So when I think about the Renzo Gracie and Hatfield, Rich is, to me, he's the reason why it is what it is. Like a family-oriented environment, the love and the attention everyone has for each other. That starts with him. So it just speaks to the type of man he is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You used to always tell me, get rid of the fighters; they don't pay. Gotta need the families. You need the families, Mike. Get rid of the fighters.
Really? Okay.
You need the families.
Dude,
and now look at the school now. He's got freaking 400 students, and they're all a lot of them are related.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, well, I'll tell you, also success. When people see people being successful, like in Chad's case, right? Like I guarantee there's been a bunch of people that gone up to Don and gone up to Chad and Mike and you and everybody where they see the success they're having and like how it's changed their lives. And like, dude, what are you doing? And it's just like, you tell them about the gym, you know, like when you're posting videos of you and your sons and all that doing the boxing, and Chad, when people see Thick Fit, they're like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? And then, you know, Mike, with the school, like people see the success. They're interested. Like, how did they get that? What did they do? And it all starts with the culture that Rich started at the Renzo Gracie PA Academy. Could not agree more. Yeah. Nice. So let's keep it moving then. So Chad, how about you? What's your favorite thing about the Renzo Gracie PA Academy?
The two clearest things that we've been talking about so far: people and culture.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just, I talked a little bit before, you know, when I came into the gym that first time, and the encouragement, and then the training partners, and then, you know, some people take a little bit, you know, to warm up to, and you do. Sometimes personalities don't match, you know, sometimes, you know, people are just thinking, well, is this guy going to last? And I don't blame them, you know, for that. Right. Because it's not for everybody. A lot of people come and go, but
there is turnover.
Yeah, there's turnover, right? There's a lot of turnover, but just how Rich leads and how he runs that organization is really impressive. And it is you know, we're in there fighting and going at each other, and we're doing it in a cooperative way. But, you know, Rich leads that place with love. There's a lot of love when you walk through those doors. There's a lot of love for one another when you start to develop those bonds. And there's something about jiu-jitsu and something about grappling. It's that there's a connection there. I mean, you're in each other's face, you know, like it's like intimate, like not in a sexual way, like, but it's like a very close. I say that, you know, a lot. Yeah. Do you, Mike? Right? It is. It's like
sure is.
It is. It's intimate. You're struggling with someone, and then like the connection you feel from that is different. Like if you haven't done it, it's hard to understand, you know. Agreed. And especially if you're a guy or girl who kind of poo-pooed the idea of like, oh, well, I don't want to be that close, or not in somebody's face, or I don't like somebody. Well, who does, you know, like that? Yeah. Until you do. I mean, until you go through that and you learn how to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and you learn how to struggle through something difficult with another person who's also struggling just as much as you are, right? Yeah. You know, or they've been through that. So like those things like that, I get that from jiu-jitsu. I get that from, you know, Renzo Gracie PA, and just that supportive environment like that, you know, where people are looking out for each other, that comes from the top. And it permeates through everybody. I think that gets the culture, and that stays, and that helps the culture flourish.
Yeah. Dude. You know? You're absolutely right. Also, I mean, for me, and I think Mike and Steve, you were in the same way, and Chad, you too, where this gym was a lifesaver for me. You know, like if I didn't have this place, bro, I'd tell my wife all the time, like I tell her, like, if I didn't meet you, I don't know, like I'd be in jail or dead. But I'll tell you this. If I never found the Renzo Gracie PA Academy, I'd be dead or in jail. I tell you that right fucking now, because that place, it keeps you straight, but also like it gives you the confidence to be your own man, and like develop yourself, and like it gives you a place where you can do that. Also, like, dude, like the advice and the friends and like just the like mentors and role models, but also like just like really like great friends that you make there. It's a special place, but you have to buy into the culture. You can't go there trying to be fucking Johnny Hardnuts. You're not gonna last. You won't. You won't last. Like that shit just doesn't fly. Like I mean, and like more like dude, you know, I'm not telling anyone how to live, but those motherfuckers coming in like muscle on top of muscle, fucking gassed out and all that, that shit doesn't fly, bro. Yeah. And like those, and I think we talked about it with you, Chad, when we had you on, is like when you get a guy that comes in that is all ego, that's all muscle, and thinks he's fucking the toughest dude in town because he fucking does whatever, right? And he gets fucking, he gets a reality check, right? Two things happen, right? One,
he never comes back.
Yep, they're the ones that are like, I'm gonna be back tomorrow. I fucking own this now. This is my
crying
life.
in his car on the drive home.
Oh, bro, yeah, calling his fucking mom. You're like, yeah, like, and they'll never come back, or changes their life, and like it did for all of us, where it's like, this is something I want to be a part of, and this is something I want to learn. Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, this is truth. That's one of the beautiful things about it. It's like, I mean, I'm only a couple of years into this, but I've so much to learn, but I know there's no bottom to it. Like, as much as I'll ever learn, like, there's no bottom to how much, you can learn, I think, with this. And there's something new. And, that coupled with the ego check that it gives, I mean, it brings you down, and it's based on truth. Like, there's nothing truer than a roll,
Yeah.
And it's like, you have good days, you have bad days. That's one of the reasons I think I connect so well with other, jiu-jitsu people. It's like, it's based on truth, and you can be true, and you can be real, and you can take the mask that you have to wear in different settings, or maybe that's gone. Like, none of that. It's all you. It's 100% you. And people realize that, and you, well, at least I appreciate that. And I feel that, with my jiu-jitsu brothers and sisters.
Dude.
Now I'm getting myself ready to train. Don Lyons.
Oh, we're all fucking
goosebumps right now.
Yeah, we're all.
He's got goosebumps.
Hey, I got the key to the gym. Let's just go over there now.
I don't even know how to roll. Let's go. I'll go do it right now.
Fucking
you wrap your hands. They double wrap your hands. We can stand up.
Let's
too.
go,
We'll do it all.
A box. Yeah, let's go. One of these days, I'm gonna get drunk enough that I challenge Cabot to a wrestling match, and I'm regretting it already. I sit over Romeo's every couple of nights, and then we have a couple beers to watch the UFCs, and I'm like, I'll wrestle. I mean, I'm willing to. I know it'll destroy me, but I got the will.
Dude,
honestly, there's a will, there's a way. That's what they say. I heard that before.
He used to take Carly Honeywell in 10th grade, and I'm still pissed about it. Yo, I want to wrestle him.
Carla Honeywell. That one will never go away.
Matt, do you remember the first time me and you boxed in your basement on 7th Street?
I do.
You remember I hit my head on the...
Well, he just had a smirk. He just said I do with a sly smirk.
It was on 6th Street.
There's six in between 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
And do you remember me hitting my head on that beam?
January 7th.
Yeah.
He had the sun was out.
He had the beam in his basement that kept the woodworking across. And me and him are boxing. I dip a punch only to slam my head into the iron beam. I tell him I'm fine, right? I'm fine. The second the round ends, I go into his bathroom and vomit everything that's inside of my body.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I remember from that fight. I don't know if you remember more. You can tell everyone.
Yeah, you had a little CTE, but it's all good. We out here.
That's pretty much what it was.
I gave him a good dip, and it rung the whole house.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was stupid. Fucking, we shouldn't have done it. But so yeah, let's keep it going. So Steve, what about you? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's a passion for you. You love UFC and martial arts. What are your thoughts? What's one of your favorite things about it?
So I'll get the first. I have actually two. One's quick, but it's the biggest one for sure. Same thing with wrestling, and I'll be like this for the rest of my life. Anytime I ever meet another man that's ever wrestled or did jiu-jitsu or some type of grappling, it's like a fraternity, right?
Yes.
It's like instantly I like this fucking guy. I'm like, hey, this fucking guy. All right, my type of guy. So that fraternity is always great. Anywhere you go, like, if you hear whether the guy wrestled or does jujitsu, I'm always on that guy's side. I like that guy. The other thing for me is, so I'm a big believer in it builds character to go through hard shit, right? You have to go through hard shit in life, right? Life's not easy I don't think life's easy for anybody. So you have to learn how to build that character in yourself to be able to, overcome some of this shit, right?
Yeah.
And some of the best shit you can do where not only we're going to move in steps, not only is it an individual sport where I can't say, I didn't do well because the quarterback didn't play well, or they didn't block for me, or the goalie, it was the goalie's fault, not mine. You didn't get me the ball, man. I'm the point. I could have. No. There's no fucking excuses. So when you don't train, only you take that blame, right? So you learn how to overcome loss, right? Because it's going to happen. You're going to get tapped out. You're going to get beat. You're going to get not. You learn to overcome those things, right? And the same way you build yourself with life. And to me, it always builds the best character people, because that person, if they're in some shit, they're not going to shy away from it. They're not afraid of adversity. And, doing hard shit like that, I think really helps people in their lives and, to be able to move through shit.
100%.
So like the hard part of it is, and like I said, I love when people say they'd love to do this to me. I'll get a random friend will text me, hey, I'm trying to get fucking back in shape. Oh, I'm gonna go to this fucking Renzo Gracie. I'm like, Renzo. I'm like, oh fuck. Here we go. Well, first off, actually, never mind. Say that when you go in. So second off, it'll be super easy. You'll have a ton of fun. Make sure you ask for Mike if you can find him, or drive up to his school. No, it's really easy. Tell him how good at you are at like wrestling, like my wrestling. Make sure you explain to him that you're a stud and go in there, please. Because like I said, there is, unless you've experienced it, this is why it's a fraternity, whether it's wrestling and going through those hard ass practices, losing all that weight, fucking killing yourself, or it's in a jiu-jitsu gym, experiencing almost taking another human's life, and then at the last second going, don't kill me. You're like, you literally you're an inch away from murder, and the bull's like, we're good. Come on, friends. We're everybody friends. So like he said, when you do that with someone else, it is a very, very intense, as gay as it sounds, intense, intimate moment. Yeah, like I'm looking at you and you're strangling the life out of me. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then when I say, nah, don't kill me, you're like, yeah, let's try this again. You go back to it and help each other. So, that type of, like you said, the culture and for sure, the fraternity of it. Yeah. No,
it's funny.
Go ahead, Don.
I call it it's a brutally gentleman sport because like when you're rolling, if you accidentally elbow someone, you're like, hey, my bad. Yep. But then it's like, I didn't mean to elbow you, but I'm definitely trying to choke you. Like that's like a gentleman.
Yo.
And it's one of the only sports that like that, because wrestling ain't like that. Like I accidentally elbow Matt. He's like, I'm like, oh fuck.
Dude, yeah, no, I'm fucking you're 100% right. But like accidents happen and things like if you do, like Don's saying, if you accidentally like hit someone,
for sure,
if you accidentally hit someone low or fucking something like that happens, you're like mortified. You know what I mean? Like you feel like the biggest jerk, and then you're gonna turn around and like, hey, I'm gonna snap your arm, but fucking sorry, I fucking elbowed. Right. Dude. So 100% right. But that's one of the beauties of it. You know what I mean? So
you're like me and Jordan, just keep going. You're like, you good as the world keeps progressively getting more intense.
Turns up the heat. Padilla. The heat gets turned up.
Dude, I love going with Jordan though, because like, dude, wrestling with Jordan, you're legit, like it's your forehead to forehead the whole time. It's so fucking rough. But I think like that's the kind of shit that's the best though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. For me, that I feel like that's the funnest. Like when you get it like that, like there's so much growth there, and like, just like having a good go. You know what I mean? Like there is something like you get it, like you
filling those lungs up and go.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Like you really do get like, the endorphins and like, but it's the challenge you get to yourself as well, where it's like like it's, dude, every role is different, every match is different, like you're putting pieces together. Also, like I don't know about you guys, like if I have like there's a million like matches and whatever that you don't think about, but like the close ones that you're just replaying in your head and you're constantly thinking about it, and just like that's when you grow and that's when you level up. And like seeing, like one of the things about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and boxing and Muay Thai and wrestling is that the results are like, if you're committed, you see results, and it's not some bullshit results either. You see real results. And I think that's why it's like, and it's one of the things like the what you mentally put yourself through and all of that. I think it's you have to be a special breed to be able to do that shit. And Justin, I'll say this, I would love, we should fucking vlog your, like, just your growth. Like go to the Brazilian, go to Renzo.
You ever in Hatfield?
I mean, when do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll show up. When are you in Hatfield? I'll show up.
We'll go on.
Please tell me when.
Come
tomorrow.
I'd love to see
tomorrow, 6 p.m. 7 p.m.
Show up. I could be there at 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Dude,
you know what? We need an easier break in for you. We're gonna go straight to Padilla's, and you're just gonna go with Mike for a while.
We went to
clip, we might as well jump.
We were at Keystone Sports 6 days ago, and I was winded after 38 seconds of running fly routes. I had like 3 Yinglings in me, and I was like, oh, I have heartburn, and I would like to sit down.
That's one thing I do love about the gym is like I think I made the mistake of drinking one time before training. And
oh no, dude! Even when we boxed, I mean, I was a maniac when me and you first started boxing, and that pulled my shit together a lot because I was in a bad place. You randomly hit me up one day. You're like, "Hey, I run this class in Norristown." I was like, "I live in Norristown." You're like, "Well, come do it." I was like, "Okay." I started just showing up in my life like immediately. Like I was I was working third shift. I was miserable. Yeah, and it changed my shit because it gets that passion back. And same thing. So during this pandemic, randomly one day, my buddy Romeo hit me up. He's like, "You want to play pickleball?" I was like, "I don't know what the fuck pickleball is." I played pickleball with him. And when we were done, he's like, "You want to run sprints, just touching the lines?" I was like, "Sure." And I tried to keep up with him. When I was done, my lungs hadn't burnt. My lungs burnt so bad. I forgot that they could burn that bad. And I was like, I like missed this. Like I couldn't breathe. I was uncomfortable. And I was like, I missed this. Like I have been feeling uncomfortable because of the shitty positions I put myself in for a couple of years. And I'm like, this feels uncomfortable, but like, but good. In a good way. I like it. Like I would like to do this every fucking day.
Yeah. Adults need hobbies, bro.
You're right about that. Dude, it's actually, I was telling somebody recently, it's actually like between jiu-jitsu, boxing, and just working out, this is probably my medicine, so to speak. Keeps me mentally sane. I think, especially when you look at the environment we live in, the world we live in, this is an outlet for me. And I actually realized how important jiu-jitsu was for me when we went at the start of the pandemic. Like I was cooped up all the time. I'm like, I'm going crazy. I'm like, shit, I can't sit here. And I went back and I felt much better. And that's been like my drug of choice at this point.
Yeah. No, I would 100% agree. I think I remember when we like started opening the gym back up, it was just like a huge, like, oh my God, thank God. You know what I mean? Like ton of people, same thought. And you're 100% right. Honestly too, this is something, and I know it's not for everybody, but like, I do think like, I don't know. I think a lot of things would be better if more people adapted this and more people tried it. Like people that are struggling with things, it's not the cure all and it doesn't fix everything. But I really think this, like just what if you have a place, like there are places, and I tell people that talk to me like, oh, what I'm thinking about doing this. I'm like, first thing you look for, don't go into anywhere that has fresh meat and make sure the place is fucking clean. Right. Like biggest things you want to look for. But yeah, no, it's honestly the culture. I think I don't know. It helps the world if it's a good place. Chad, what were you going to say?
It does. I mean, it's a full lifestyle, program. I mean, it's not just self-defense. It's not just a martial art. It's not just getting in shape, working out. It's like, how you live, and how you, interact with people and, how going through that type of struggle, specifically with something like jiu-jitsu, it's tremendously, character building, like we've been talking about, the whole time. And the way you carry yourself is different. The confidence you have, how you move and how you interact, how you, talk with people, how you
walk down the street.
How you interview for a job, walk down the street. It's just different, and then you're wondering about what you eat, because you can actually then feel the foods that you put in your body and what kind of energy that gives you or not. Or if you go out drinking a lot the night before, you're going to feel that the next day. And, it's going to be a tough one. And here's the other thing, though. This is the truth for me that after 2.5 years still holds up. There's plenty of days when I don't feel like training, right? Like you don't feel like, like you're always sore, right? There's
just
always
got to get there.
You just got to get there. You just got to go. And every time, it doesn't matter how tired I am or how much, I don't want to go or how much other stuff is on my mind. When I go there and I train and I put it all out there and I'm in that moment, because you can't be anywhere else in jiu-jitsu. You're right there with your training partner and you're nowhere else, right? You're nowhere else mentally. So it's some type of spiritual thing, too, that's a connection for me. But after you leave there, you go through that and you're in your car. Every time I feel incredible. I'm filled with energy. I feel a sense of accomplishment. I got the endorphins flowing in my brain, right? I got the dopamine kicking. It's just, you feel like you accomplished something and you're healthy and you're strong. Your arms are burning, everything. But it's a good hurt, and that lasts with me. That lasts with me for a few hours, and I got to kind of calm down, right? To get some sleep. But I'll tell you, it does that for me. It does that for me. That ride home, every time you just feel it. And it's not anything there's nothing else that I've done for myself, for my health, that has given me that same effect personally. Like not even close.
Yeah. I think too, like, I think like going there consistently, I think it makes you treat people better as well. Like you're just like genuinely like nicer, and you get like when
shit doesn't bother you as much.
Yeah,
right.
Yes. It's a great stress reliever. It really is.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I'll scream this from the fucking rooftops, and I've said it before. The days you don't want to go to the gym are the most important days to go. Yeah. They're the that's when you level up. The days you don't want to go to the gym are the most important days to go.
Speaking of those shitty days, hey Matt, Mike, you remember remember we used to do remember those Saturday morning interval trainings after we've been crushing beers the night before? Ooh. We have to show up Saturday morning out on like the fucking half basketball court that wasn't even there at the old Hatfield thing, and we're fucking flipping. I would every time because
crawling,
27,
crawling
getting
down
hammered,
down those metal steps.
Hung over like a motherfucker, and Rich just every time I look up, I just see him shaking his head like, "I hope you die out there. I hope you fucking die." I'm like, I am.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. No, the worst. So. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we're coming to the top of time, and this has just been fucking great. I honestly really had high hopes coming into this, and just blew everything out of the water. There's going to be more of these, and I want you guys, and I think me, Justin, and Steve, we're all on the same page. We would love it if you guys would be willing to do this again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whenever you need me, I'm always here.
Love it. No, I know.
We roll thick, Matty.
We roll thick, brother. We ride together, fam. We roll thick. Those are the two fucking mantras, baby. That's what we live by. So, but we're coming to the top of time. And before we get out of here, Don, Money Talks with Don Lyons. We'll have a link in the description so that people can see your stuff, hit you up. But is there anything you want to say to your adoring public before we take off?
No, I think this was a great discussion. I'm looking forward to many more. And if you haven't trained in any type of martial art like jiu-jitsu, I'd encourage you to try it out.
Yeah, I would agree. I loved when we had Dorito on. I loved that. I was like, Johnny, is there anything you want to say to your adoring public before you take off? He's like, yeah, I just want to say hi to everybody at the gym. And I was just like, like, of course you would fucking say that.
Dorito's the fucking man.
I love him. Great show too. Really great show. So nice. So, okay. Very good.
Mike,
Don.
he was there before we were, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Dorito's a fucking OG. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Dorito was fucking there before Richie was like,
he was there before Rich.
Yeah. So nice. So, all right. Well, we'll keep it moving. So, Mike, before we get out of here, Padilla Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we'll have Padilla BJJ.com. We'll have a link in the description. Highly suggest it. Check it out. Really great place. Got nothing but rave reviews. Everyone's talking about it. Big topic in the community. But anything you want to say to your adoring fans before we take off?
Live, love, laugh, and roll.
Love it. Dude, that's a great t-shirt, babe. Do you have one of that?
Man.
Live, love, laugh, and roll.
It's on his lower back, right above his butt cheeks. You
got a tramp stamp with that. Nice. No, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, live, love, laugh, and roll. And like we said, we'll have a link to Brazilian Padilla BJJ in the description of this. I'm telling you, if you're in the Bethlehem, Allentown area, just check it the fuck out. Great place, man. So nice. Let's keep it moving. Mr. Thickfit USA will have a link in the description for you as well at Thickfit USA on Instagram, dude, and TikTok. Great follow. Love it, man. Dude, just love everything you're about and everything you're doing. And, just thanks for coming back on. What do you got to say to your fans before we take off, pal?
Thank you, Matty. I'd say just go out there and give it a try. Go and do it. If you ever were thinking about doing something active, something physical, if martial arts and jiu-jitsu was something that you didn't even consider, just go check it out. Go to Mike's gym, go to Padilla Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, go to Renzo PA, go to somewhere that's near you, in your hometown. And do some research. I think there were a lot of great tips here about what to look for and the type of culture and different things. So I'd say just have the courage to go in there and give it a try, and it might just change your life like it did mine, and everybody here that's been talking. So give it a shot. And then check out Thickfit USA on Instagram. We're having fun there. It's a community. It's a lifestyle. We want to get healthy, strong, confident, and dangerous. We want to use it for good. There's a good way to learn how to do that. And that's what jiu-jitsu.
Damn right. We roll thick, brother. Absolutely. Yeah, and there's going to be a link in the description for that, for your TikTok and your Instagram. And it's a great follow. I loved your post you had today with the sundown. What do you call them? The sundown talks, right?
Yeah. So
sundown talks.
I have golden hour. I'll have golden hour reflection. Sometimes I'll just go out there in the sunset, but that's something I do. So I try to show things that are good for like my mind, body, and spirit. So one thing I'll do is go out like in the sunset. I like sunsets. I like looking at the night sky and stuff like that. And I'll just think about some things either that I got to do or that I'm grateful for. Trying to give thanks for things that are going good in life. That's important because it's easy to kind of shove that stuff on the back burner, and like I'll take clips of that and I'll post them out there. So, check them out. Let me know what you guys do for the same thing.
Yeah.
We're on it.
Yeah, dude. No, you're 100% right. Love those clips. Great follow. Thickfit USA, changing the world. Mindset. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it, brother. That's it.
Mindset.
Preaching the mindset. Nice. Strong stem. I know this is something we've kicked around, and that I know we talk about it a lot, but what were your thoughts, or what do you got to say to the legions of the strong stem faithful before we take off?
So, I jumped in late because I had to do my Mike Piazza tonight with my niece. So I had prior obligations.
Right.
So I can't wait to listen back and hear the beginning. But two things. One, did you just say sundown chats? And then when he said the golden hour, you went, like you just missed it. Like, dog, he wasn't even close, cuz like, what the fuck? That man said, nonsense.
There's like the wind just got lit out of the sails. Like, oh man, I thought we had that. I thought we had that one.
Like he wasn't close.
Dude, the golden hour. Yeah, sundown, gold. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I was like, Samsonite. I was way off.
But listen, so in all seriousness, so for anybody that is listening and wants to try some shit like that, right? Whether it's wrestling, you have no choice, but it's also a fun thing to do. You go try it. But when it comes to jiu-jitsu, like we explained, it's a very serious, intimate, like more laid back, but yet I'm trying to kill you type of thing, right? So just like anywhere you go, the most important things is your partners and whoever's running that joint, right? So it's hard to figure those out if you haven't been in those waters. So to hear on this podcast, two great places like Henzo's and Mike's, I mean, you're getting inside info. This is a place you can go in and there's 100% guarantee no one's going to try to take advantage of you and beat the shit out of you and fucking rip your head off your shoulder. They kind of did it to me when I first came in, but I deserved it. So there's no one that's going to like
different era back then. Different era back then.
No, he deserved it.
Yeah, 100.
It didn't matter the era.
Little bit of both. You're right. Yeah, jdub.
1000% his fault.
It could be possible that somebody could still deserve it, right? Sure. Maybe.
Right. Yeah. But those people have to know they deserve it and be willing to accept it, which I was.
Right.
So here's the thing. Again, you're hearing it two places where Mike will never let anybody get steered bad in there. He's a great human. Same with Rich. Like there are two places you can jump into high level jiu-jitsu guys. I mean, top of the top.
Yeah.
The food chain guys. And there, you could start out with the training wheels. Like you don't have to worry about getting the shit yoked out of you every 6 seconds. Like these are gyms that how we went over. You're policing them. These are really good spots that are known that you're going to be in a good environment. Yes. So, if you can take anything out of this podcast, take it out of these two. If you're within fucking 50 miles of either one or whatever, it's worth the drive to go to these places.
Agreed.
I mean, they're incredible level talent, but also treat you with the respect that you want so that you don't go back like me and cry in the car on the ride home. Like, the old man took me out again.
Bro, dude, I'll say this too. As far as like Rich might be one of the baddest dudes I think I've ever met. Right. And like Jordan too, and Greg, like, but also the nicest. Right. Like, is Rich not the nicest fucking guy there is?
Yeah.
He really is the nicest fucking dude. right?
And if somebody didn't think that, they'd be too afraid to say so anyway.
Right.
You're like, hey, he's like,
now
he's great.
Yeah, Karen, on the other hand, she's fucking terrifying. Let's not get it twisted. All right, so fucking watch out. So nice. Jalen Dub. Anything you want to say to the Dub Nation before we
this has
take
been
off?
fun. I love hearing everybody's fucking showing up and getting humbled to their now they have black belts and they run their own fucking studio. So like show up and you can get somewhere. And anything physical, you need to. I'm a man who needs to be pushed. I don't wake up and feel motivated, but like a little fire lit under me goes a long way. Steve Cabot lights a fire under me. And you've lit a fire under me. So like, it's all healthy. It's all good. And it all gets somewhere.
I will say this.
See you in Hatfield tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'll show up.
J-Dub.
You are. Yeah. You are on. It is recorded that you said you will go. So
I'll show up.
You will be held to that. But also, I will say this. You are deceivingly athletic. People won't think it by looking at you.
From North Wales.
Not if they saw him in a batting cage.
Stevie, all right, besides a batting cage, but deceivingly
never
athletic.
been a good batter. I can steal bases.
Also very fast. People don't know this. Can run fast.
Yeah, don't put me on base. I'll take a walk and steal second any day of the week.
True. He's got those long. He's a gazelle. Well. Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
So this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives podcast. This is the Renzo Gracie PA Roundtable, part of the Roundtable series. This was just freaking great. Super excited we got this done. In case you're wondering, you can find all our content and all our stuff on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can hang out with us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast, and you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workperspectives@gmail.com. And please, God, like and subscribe so my wife just leaves me the hell alone about doing the show. Man, this has just been a great show, and thanks for listening. Stick around for the ad read. Thanks. See ya. Do you have a message or a story inside of you that you've been waiting to tell? Have you always dreamed of writing a book, but are intimidated by the complexities of the book publishing world? Perhaps you want to use a book to launch your public speaking or consulting career. If so, please reach out to Scott and Bell Publishing, located right here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scott and Bell Publishing handle all genres and authors with all experience levels. Scott & Bell Publishing gives authors 100% creative freedom and a higher royalty split. They can be found at www.skotbell.com. That's www.s as in Sam, K as in Kite, O as in October, T as in Tom, B as in Boy, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry.com. That's Scott and Bell Publishing, where the authors go.